Hey guys, Eugene here for our Thursday afternoon chat with myself and Katie. Trying to tell people what we're doing today. We're talking about social workers, Katie. I think hopefully you got my message. And everybody's out here. Hopefully we've got a crowd showing up. We're going to talk about dealing with social workers and other government employees, because there's a certain way you need to deal with these individuals to try to get what you want and also try to prevent from stepping your foot in a big old hole that may have been caused by someone else, not necessarily by you. If we look at the social work area, there's about 40% of the complaints that's ever filed in a CPS, a Child Protective Services, or a social worker complaint is filed falsely. So, and there's a good number of people who are wrongfully accused of a crime. So it would serve everyone here to know their constitutional rights, to know them, not to get away with anything, but to protect yourself in case you experience the heavy hand of the law or the government. For example, we talk about social workers. One of the things they do, and I put a series of TikToks they'll probably drop in the next couple of days about how to handle a social worker when they come knocking on your door. The first thing they'll do is a trick. They'll flash that badge or they'll flash their credentials as if that badge and those credentials give them some kind of special authority. Well, it really doesn't. They have no more authority to make you talk than anyone else. So that's one of the tricks they do. They'll show up on your door, knock on the door, and first thing they'll do is they'll flash that badge or they'll flash their credentials and ask if they can come inside and talk. If they are unannounced, the answer to that question is no.
Okay, because we have a question that kind of has to do with what you were just talking about. So I'm just going to read it in case you can add any more information. But the question is, would it be trespassing if a cop or a social SVC worker came on your enclosed property after being told not to enter if they have a report of abuse but no warrant?
Is it considered trespass if you have a closed fence, if it's closed, not open to the ordinary public, and it is posted, then it is likely a trespass. Now, as far as filing criminal charges, now trespass can take form in two ways. You can sue someone civilly for trespass. The criminal charge will probably be a hard. I'm not saying you can't do it. I can't see a prosecutor wanting to prosecute someone criminally for trespass. You can certainly sue them civilly for coming upon your marked property, because there are two types of trespass. You can trespass someone and you can sue them in civil court or criminal court. It is unlikely that you're going to have any luck in the criminal court, but you don't have to talk to them. If a CPS worker or a social worker shows up at your door, and a lot of times they'll even show up with a police officer. This is another trick. And I'm not sure it's a trick, but I think their policies might dictate. So when they show up with an officer, the normal citizen almost feels compelled to let them in and talk to them. Do not do that unless they have an order. An order. A lot of times if they show up with a police officer, then they might actually have an order to remove children. And in that case, if they've got an order, take a look at it. Make sure it's legitimate, make sure it's signed by a judge, then you should do what that order demands. If you don't, it can only cause you more grief. But if they show up without an order, you do not have to let them in your home. You do not even have to talk to them. But as far as suing them, you can sue them civilly. I'm not sure what your damages are. I'm not sure how much money you can collect, but you certainly can.
If charges are dismissed in order to keep a clean record, does a person file for expungement? Am I pronouncing that right?
That's correct. It's an expungement. So it is important. And a lot of states are now broadening the number of crimes or the type of crimes that they will allow to be expunged, and what that means, that's a fancy word for saying they're going to have it removed from your record. So some states have a pretty hefty process. I would encourage you to find an attorney. That's something actually I can help you with. It will cost you, but I can help you with that process. Sometimes you don't even have to go to court to get a record expunged. There are certain qualifications or criteria depending on the state you're in. But once it's expunged, it's off your record. And there are certain felonies can be expunged. I always encourage people, once you've served your time and fulfilled all of the obligations that you were, like if it's restitution or something like that, you could be eligible for an expungement. And I encourage everyone. We all do stupid stuff. I almost cussed there. We all do stupid stuff in our life. And so the court system and the legal system has found a remedy. When you're young and stupid, like George Bush said, when I was young and stupid, I was young and stupid. I was young and stupid. Right now, I'm just stupid sometimes. So there's a way to get around that. So I encourage everyone to do that. Get yourself an attorney, figure it out, or hit me up. I can show you through that process.
Is there a grant that can be written to pay for a general contracting business license bond?
I don't know. That's a very specific question. I would have to look into it and see. But I don't think so. Typically, grants aren't really to solve your personal problem. They're there because the state sees a need to solve an overall, mostly a social type of problem. I get that a lot too. Can I get a grant to help me build my house? Can I get a grant? No. Now, you're going to do a Google search on, I need money to help me build my house. You're going to get a lot of people telling you that if you just pay them money, they will help you find a grant to do whatever it is you want to do. That is baloney. Baloney. It's not going to happen. They're just going to take your money. So mostly grants are there to help solve a broader problem and not necessarily your problem. Okay?
What if a judge caused me nerve damage from having an ankle monitor on for 19 months?
Okay. That's interesting. All right. Because I got a buddy that does home confinement. His name's Brian. He told me he would be on here today. I'm going to have him on a podcast, by the way. Interesting fella. He's a private investigator and runs some court monitoring associated business. So, shortly, I would say to you, if you have nerve damage, first off, it has to be proven. You have to have legit nerve damage that you did not have before. Then I wouldn't talk about the judge, but I would link the bracelet people. Whatever company you sold that bracelet to, I'll guarantee you're not the only one to have that problem. So if it's not been that long, usually statute of limitations on a lot of things is a couple of years, sometimes a year. So I would be real careful. If you have legit nerve damage that you did not have before and you believe it was caused by that ankle bracelet, you might have you a case against the manufacturer of the ankle bracelet or the company that put it on. So as a lawyer, I'm thinking out loud real quick without looking at anything. I think you probably got a case, but it's not with the judge. It's with the company.
Don Juan asks, best way to find a lawyer that will do pro bono?
Don Juan, he was on the other day. I love it when these people reoccur.
I know.
Okay, Don, I think he was on, if not yesterday, the last one of the times, because I remember the name. I think of the Latin lover, Don Juan.
Mm-hmm.
So, the best way to find a pro bono lawyer, you can consult the bar association, whatever state you're from. Look up their website. Like if it's Kentucky Bar Association, West Virginia Bar Association, they're called different things, but it's where the attorneys are listed. If you look at their websites, they will also have sections for pro bono work. I sign up for pro bono work in Kentucky and West Virginia, but I do it very sparingly. I choose to do my own pro bono work. I I like to do that at my leisure, and I give away a lot of work. I don't give away everything. I don't even give away a large percentage of work anymore. But I do pro bono work depending on the case. So if you're out there, please don't flood me with free requests. That's something that comes from different places. I usually get those referred from other people who will contact me and tell me about someone they know that's having a hard time. And then actually, what I do is not really pro bono, it's sliding scale. I think we all have to have skin in the game. I have charged people as little as $25, but at least they've got some skin in the game. And when you have skin in the game, you pay attention, right? Because I've done free work. When I do free work, the clients generally don't appreciate it. They don't do what you need them to do to pursue their claim. And then you just get frustrated. So, but go to the State Bar Association, look up pro bono work. If it's a criminal case, then you probably are entitled to public defender. I know in Appalachia, we have something called Appalachian Legal Defense Fund. They call them Apple Red. They are subsidized free lawyers, but they handle certain types of cases. So take a look around at those kind of sources, particularly the Bar Association, and you'll be able to find someone that might be able to help you out.
Can I sue for falling off the porch and breaking my hip with no rail at the rental home I live in?
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, you can. That's a lawsuit right there. I've sued for those kind of things. Yeah, they have a duty. That's what we talked, the duty. They had a duty to make sure that your place, any landlord has a duty to make sure that your place is not only inhabitable, but safe. If they don't have any rails, first off, they probably violated some kind of building code. And if they're taking money to you, then they have given you a contract basically that says they're going to keep you safe. If there is no rail and you fail because of that and you are injured, you got some money coming to you. So I wouldn't wait too long. Contact a lawyer.
Why does it seem like when you get a lawyer, they're acting on behalf of the opposing client?
See, I get that a lot. So, and I think maybe we've talked about that before. There's a myth about, your lawyer selling you out for the other side, or, they're more favorable to the other side. I've been practicing law since 2000. I've been in the courtroom before that with other matters, helping other people as a counselor. It doesn't happen as often as you think. Hardly ever have I ever seen it. I think there's a couple times when maybe I saw it. So it does so this is the perception. When your lawyer goes out and has lunch or dinner with the other side, or maybe even the judge, and then you get a bad outcome on your case. And a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, a lot of times your case might be crap. Maybe you have bad facts on your side. I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but the facts look bad. And then you see, you're ignoring your bad facts. You're ignoring your case that's probably not very good, but you see your lawyer going out to lunch or dinner or a nightclub with the judge or out in the back at the courthouse. They're all yucking it up. You think they're conspiring against you. Most of the time they're not. You can ask a judge to recuse. You can hire your lawyer. And if you think that's happening to you, fire your lawyer. If it's a public defender, go to the supervisor, ask for another lawyer. Don't put up with it. If you believe that that's happening to you, and that's your perception, and that's your reality, then fire your lawyer.
How to go about reporting an officer on the Brady list or making sure he or she is on that list?
Okay, the Brady list had some, I think the Brady list, I'm not real familiar with. I do know it was named for the fella that got shot, I think, during the Ronald Reagan attempted assassination, I think, if my history serves me correctly. And I know it deals with handguns. I think it might do with illegal possession of handguns. So if you know an officer that is possessing a sidearm that is not registered and is illegal and they are using it on the job, I would certainly make a written complaint to that officer's superior. I'm telling you, social workers, CPS can invade a whole lot of your life, believe it or not. You can have an ex-spouse make a complaint against you and the way you're handling your kids, and the social worker come knocking on your door. Or when you get elderly, social worker come knocking on your door, because maybe someone else, you're in charge of someone that's elderly, they're going to knock on your door. There's a lot of different ways that they can get involved. Food stamp fraud. You can be accused of food stamp fraud, social services fraud, all kinds of ways that these people can try to get inside your world and make it a mess.
What can you do when they only investigate one parent and not both, and only one home visit?
Yeah, that sucks. So that happens a lot. These social workers, I always tell people, listen, they're human. And like I said earlier, roughly 40% of the claims that's ever filed with the social workers or CPS, they're false. They're filed usually by a disgruntled parent. Most of the time, they're filed by a grandparent, believe it or not. Okay, social workers are human. I tell this to everyone. They have bias like everyone else. A lot of times, these claims are false. About 40% of the time, these claims are absolutely baseless. And they come from a former spouse, maybe a mother or a biological mother or a father. Most of the time, they're coming from a grandparent. They want your child. So they will do whatever they can. They will make up whatever kind of tale they want to make up to get that social worker in your house. That happens a lot. So if they are only looking at you, then maybe that allegation is only about you. That's a big tip. So generally, I don't think they're required to investigate the other party unless there's allegations. Although, wherever that child is stationed, there should be a home visit. They almost always do a home study. If they're going to place a child, they'll do a home study. They should look at the home to make sure it's appropriate and safe. They should make sure that the people that are in the care and custody of your child is appropriate. Generally, they don't allow felons. Generally, anybody with any kind of a criminal record, they won't do. But they'll always look to family members first. And then outside, that net gets cast wider as they exclude more people. So I would complain. If you believe you have a problem with your social worker, I would complain. However, the problem with that is these people are human, as I said before, and they talk to each other. I always tell people when that spotlight is on you, try to smile. Do whatever they ask you to do with a smile on your face. And that's hard. I get it. If it happened to me, I would be so angry. But when that person is in your house, when you are talking to that person, make it easy for them to like you. Make it easy for them to want to close their case and get rid of you. Okay? So make it easy for them, because when you complain on them, it can get worse. So it's always the best tactic. So guys, look at my profile. I don't know how many of you out there looking right now. Go to my profile, hit follow button, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and check out our Spotify. Download that. Like I said, last week was a wonderful interview. We got something dropping today that you're going to love if you're into the substance abuse and addiction. A lot of great information from a wonderful cat. We're going to have a mortician, a priest. We're going to talk about dinosaurs. So I really want to bring you information so that way when life and law collide in your world, you're going to know what to do. All right, guys, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.